Hyundai has updated its largest SUV, the Palisade, for 2026, giving it an all-new body and new powertrain. It's a bit bigger than before, mainly at the rear overhang, shorter front overhang as well, but yeah, completely new design. Just one trim level is going on sale, the Calligraphy top spec model, packed with everything, all the luxuries that you need, and it comes standard in 8-seat form, or with optional 7 seats with 2 captain chairs in the middle row. I reckon it looks pretty good. I like the new flush headlights and tail lights. It's got the classy sort of metallic trimmings on the D-pillar. And it's got that kind of slab-like presence. It's very big and kind of, well, I wouldn't say bulky, but yeah, just definitely has a lot of presence on the road. The biggest change though is what's found under the bonnet. It's a new generation hybrid powertrain. It pairs a 2.5 litre turbo-petrol 4-cylinder engine. So this is a familiar engine. It's found in the Sonata N-Line and so on. But it's matched up to 2 electric motors. So what are we looking at here? You've got gearbox, electric motor, clutch, another electric motor, then the engine. And that just provides absolute control over regen, for example, but also whenever the engine is started, it can be providing regen as well. So the aircon's on or something like that, it's also supplying power for the battery. What I like about it most is that it has a torque converter automatic and it behaves and drives like a normal petrol engine. Like sometimes you're driving along and you don't even know it's a hybrid. I mean, it does have that electric boost at low speeds, but yeah, having the torque converter automatic means it behaves like a normal car. Like you put your foot down and it revs out just the same as a normal petrol vehicle. Some of these modern plug-in hybrids, you know, you'll floor it and it will give you that electric boost for quite a bit, and then the petrol engine sort of comes in with a CVT-like character, like after you've already built up speed. It's not like this. This just is very much like a conventional petrol engine, just sometimes, especially in eco mode, it'll provide an electric boost lower when you're doing low speeds. Combined, you've got 245 kilowatts and 400 Newton meters. So it's a decent amount of power. Not so much in terms of torque, like some of the old diesels were 440 Newton meters for these old 2.2 Hyundai diesel. So torque is perhaps a little bit low, but you do have decent power. And because of that electric motor, you've got instant torque available as well, and more probably than the old diesel. Well, you've got it from pretty much 0 RPM. If we have a look under the back, you'll see there is a tail shaft and normal mechanical differential. And that just means that it's running a normal all-wheel drive system. It doesn't have an E kind of motor at the back providing that electric propulsion just at the back. So if the battery's flat or whatever, even though most hybrids this never happens, but you're not just relying on electric power going to the rear axle. You're getting the whole lot going to both axles. Inside, major overhaul as well. You've got this big wraparound style dashboard, very modern and yeah, looks suave. It's got this material on the inside there, some wood trimmings down below as well. I'm pretty sure that's fake wood, but it does look quite nice. And as per typical with Hyundai models, lots of physical controls. So you've got a separate climate control panel down there. You don't have to worry about diving into the touchscreen. And you've got some main menu options here as well. It does run the latest computer chip and all that sort of thing. So it's very quick, it just jumps straight to where you need to go without any sort of loading time. It's also got the latest safety systems, and yes, it does have a driver monitoring camera, but I have found that when you turn all this stuff off, as you have to do every time you start the vehicle, if you want to turn it off, the driver monitoring camera in particular, so recent Hyundai Kia models, you'll turn it all off and then yawn, and it will still come back on again if it thinks that you're being distracted for a certain period. This I've found, I've turned it all off, it hasn't come back on. I've, you know, tried reaching around and having a drink or something like that, talking with the camera on my head, which usually provokes, yeah, the system to go, hey, you've been distracted a bit, I'm going to turn everything back on. This doesn't seem to do that, because what I'll usually do with the latest Hyundai Kia products is put tape over that camera just to completely shut it up, whereas this, yeah, I've found that I don't have to. Lots of storage all around the place. You've got a wireless charger, just a single for the Palisade. Santa Fe has 2, but instead you've got some cup holders and extra storage down below there as well. It's got this kind of big chunky floating console sticking out, and then some storage under the armrest there, and some Pringles by the looks of it. And in the back, yeah, heaps of room, sliding middle row. This is the 8-seater version, so this is the standard setup. Nice trim, sort of peanut butter leather, twin cup holders, Weird back of the console there, like why wouldn't they put some vents there? It just looks, I don't know, like it's unfinished. But you do have plenty of storage, nice big drawer, hidden USB-C ports. There's 6 USB-C ports overall, controls for the passenger seat, and then twin moonroof setups. And then you've got some climate controls up here on the ceiling as well, with vents in the ceiling. There's no climate vents in the B pillar, or on the back of that console. Nice trim, even extending to the rear doors. This fabric sort of stuff, and then leatherette, cup holders, little phone slot. Very practical. And it's even got what seems to be the fashion these days, double glazed windows. Well, it's not really double glazed, more laminated, but 2 pieces of glass there. So that helps with insulation, quietness, and all of that. To access the third row, just hit the button and it pops up. You can kind of slide it forward further if you want to. And it's just a matter of stepping in. It's handy you've got buttons just here, so you can pop up the rear seats from the side, or there's buttons at the back in the boot as well. And then right up the back, let's see how much space we've got. Look, this is fine for me. I'm 170 centimeters. I could sit back here and go for a bit of a road trip, no problem. My knees aren't actually touching. They're just skimming the back of the second row, but you can slide that forward a little bit further if you wanted to and close up a bit of the space there. I mean, it's still got plenty, so you've got a bit of flexibility, but it is good to see you've got cup holders, twin cup holders actually, USB-C port, and then there's those buttons to control the third row. But overall, I think this is not bad. Like, I've got a decent amount of headroom. My head's not even getting close to the ceiling, even though this does have the sunroof at the back. There's kind of a cutaway there to slot in your head. And then, this is an 8-seater, so you've got 3 seats in the very back as well. This middle seat is a bit firm. My head has sort of jumped up a little bit. But if you've got a big family, or you just need to use this temporarily, or take your kids' friends down the road or whatever, this is going to be totally fine. And then up at the back, electronic tailgate, of course, and a decent amount of space for a 3-row SUV. There's all those buttons and controls. You've actually got V2L charging as well, so you can plug your laptop into that. The petrol engine will start up automatically when needed, but the 1.65 kilowatt hour battery is large enough to charge a laptop quite easily without running into any troubles. I like the way Hyundai does fit this carpet mat. I'll just show you what I mean. So most 7-seat SUVs, you've got a mat, but then as soon as you pop up the rear seats, it just, folds all over the place. Whereas this just extends perfectly, so you can actually leave it in here. And when you're ready to, or when you need to pop up the third row, pull the tab, and it's just neatly folded in there. You've also got a little bit of storage under the floor. All right, we'll take this for a drive. I'm here as part of the launch event, so we've got a few different models to drive, but they're all the same, as I said, Calligraphy. It's just some are 7-seat and some are 8-seat. And I'll try and do the performance test later on as well. Firstly, how does this new hybrid powertrain go? Well, it's interesting because this is set to come out in a number of Genesis models in the near future, and probably some Hyundai models as well. Now, the 2.5 turbo petrol 4-cylinder by itself is actually a nice unit. Like, it produces good power, good torque, because it's got capacity on its side, but it's also turbocharged, so it just gives you that extra zing in the top end. And then here we've got electronic assistance, so it should sort of even out any gaps, but also trim consumption a little bit. And on first impressions, it feels pretty good. There's a number of different drive modes you can choose from, Eco, Sport, and My Drive. I find My Drive the best. It's kind of, or it seems like it's adaptive. The Eco mode obviously prioritizes economy, and I think it's just a little bit laggy, especially going from front-wheel drive based to all-wheel drive. For example, I took off at the lights a few times in Eco mode, and it just took a split second, and it spun the wheels just for a second and then sent power to the back. Whereas in Sport mode, it seems to be more immediate, and in the My mode as well, it seems to be a bit more responsive, which makes sense because it's trying to prioritize economy. It's probably just configuring two-wheel drive for as much as it can. I'll just show you. It's quite wet here now. I'll put it in Eco mode. Probably won't do it now that's on camera, but no cars behind me. And that wasn't too bad. It actually didn't spin much at all. Just sort of squirmed a little bit with the tires. But yeah, in the traffic earlier on when it was actually raining, the road was probably much slipperier than this, and it spun the wheels just for a second, and then sent the power to the four of them. But I find my drive is a good balance anyway, because it's just providing some response from the pedal. In eco mode, it's obviously very slack. Again, trying to prioritize economy, whereas my mode, or whatever it was, my drive is it just seems like a good balance. Performance is really good. Just show you again, and we'll do some kick down. So about 50 kilometers an hour, full power. And you've got the electric motor providing a shove initially, and then the petrol engine will cut in. But it is great that it does have a normal torque converter automatic. That kick down was probably not the best timing actually. But I'll just slow right down. No cars behind me. That's better. So it's a conventional or traditional sort of kick down, engine revs, and pushes you along. Some hybrids out there, particularly the plug-in hybrids, and the first time I did that just then, it's kind of a bit, I don't know, unusual, where the electric motor is providing a good shove initially and then the petrol engine sort of cuts in. Most of the time this behaves like a totally normal petrol engine that we know from in the past 20 years or whatever. We're going to encounter some dirt roads now. We'll see how the local suspension tune goes. So this has got pretty low profile tyres. It's not really designed for off-road driving, but it can cope with dirt roads like this, which there are quite a lot of in Australia. So obviously the team did a lot of testing on roads like this to fine-tune that setup, and it feels pretty good. It's not, shaking me about. Still got plenty of grip. Actually, we'll just pull over and just floor it. So I've still got stability control on. Yeah, no problem at all. The stability control or traction control light didn't actually flash. We'll try that in eco mode actually, just to see if that makes any difference. Kind of the same, I guess, because I just gave it the full power. That was full power again. It sort of spun the wheels a little bit at the front, I guess, but overall very, very stable. Hyundai usually provides a good suspension tune for Australian conditions anyway, and it's the same here. It's absorbing the bumps, but it's not too soft and sloppy like some of the cheaper brands out there at the moment. They seem to be going with a very soft setup, in my opinion. I think you do need some sportiness in Australia, because you're hitting bumps like this. We've got weird corners and off-camber bits and pieces. You don't want to be, have on the body wobble all over the place. And you want some response from the suspension as well for when you do hit potholes, which you will do in Australia. So having something that's slightly firmer, it's still very soft, still at the comfort end, but it's just not right down below. So going over those little potholes there, it didn't crash and bang all over the place. Whereas a softer setup might be too slack and the wheel moves too much, and it starts to crash. Visibility is quite good. I've got a little quarter window there so I can see the gap between the mirror and the pillar, and all around the front it's a nice wide open view. The dashboard does sit a little bit high because it's got that modern design, but I do like the way that it's just clean and just a flat surface, not all bits and pieces protruding up, and the touchscreen is embedded down there, so it's not a distraction. And in fact the whole instrument cluster, it's all down in one spot. I do like the way that it's all clean. It just makes it sort of less stressful when you're driving along. You don't have bits and pieces poking out at you. And then out the back, if you go for the 7-seat option, you can see through the middle because there's no headrests for the second row in the middle. But the rear windscreen is quite big and wide for a modern vehicle. A lot of these modern vehicles have chunky pillars and so on. This seems pretty good considering it is a brand new model. Flick it over into sport mode and check out the handling. Much more responsive now in the sport mode for the powertrain at least. The steering feels pretty much the same. It probably is the same. I do like the way that there's a good balance between softness and comfort but a bit of sportiness as well, so it's not wobbling and falling all over the place, even over this bumpy section. I mean, if I knew the road, we could turn the stability control off and have a bit of a play and see if I can get the tail out, but I don't know where this event is taking us exactly. Good traction around there. Yeah, it feels good. The front end is not too wobbly. It's staying quite flat. Yeah, it's actually a bit of fun. I always liked the Palisade, the previous gen, for its handling. I mean, it's not the sportiest car ever, but for a big, 7 or 8 seat SUV, I always thought they handled quite nicely. The chassis feels very rigid. The steering's quite responsive. It just feels, not out of its depth when you're taking it along a road like this. It means if you're going for a nice family road trip or something like that, you're not driving a bus. It's got some enjoyment there. Decent amount of traction too, considering we are on the wet. That's full throttle. It's gripping up really well. Pretty nasty bumps there, that just soaked them up beautifully. You can feel the front end getting the power initially. It's kind of got a tiny bit of, well, not torque steer, but you can just feel that that's where the power is going initially, but it's sent to the rear, or some is sent to the rear quite quickly. So it's got that safe and secure feeling, even when you're being a bit of a, being a bit silly on the dirt, like now. So I've got the stability control completely off. I just want to see how much it actually is working in the background. With it off, that's full power.
In 300 meters, turn right onto.
Yeah, it feels pretty much the same actually. It's must have good all-wheel drive brains to work out where to best send the power.
Turn right onto.
After driving mainly in the country and on winding roads today it's more about driving on the highway. I'm averaging 7.3 litres per 100 kilometres. That's over a distance of 100 kilometres, and it's pretty much been constant highway driving. I think that's a pretty good rating in the real world for something this heavy, 2.2, 2.3 tons, and for something that produces 245 kilowatts. That's going to require a certain amount of energy, to push that along with that much power, although you're not using 245 kilowatts all the time. I just mean that, yeah, you've got that in reserve. So I think that consumption is actually pretty good. It's probably about the same as you used to get in the old diesel Palisade, but you don't have the same sort of acceleration and potential to get that even lower in the suburbs and in the city, when you can rely a bit more on the electric motors to help bring you up to speed and so on. I'm still driving in the My mode, which I should have explained earlier, that I've got My mode set up with the Smart Drive powertrain system. So you've got Eco, Sport and Smart, and that's the adaptive part I'm talking about. So it just adapts to your driving style. If you need power, put your foot down a bit and it will respond. Whereas in the Eco mode, it's more of a relaxed setting, and obviously in the Sport modes, it's more amped up. One technology I find quite useful on the highway is the blind spot cameras. I won't put my indicator on because this guy will think I'm turning, but basically these dials turn into displays for cameras that are mounted underneath the mirrors, and they sort of spray back, no cars behind me there, and we get a view of that blind spot, and same with the other side. And I think that is handy, especially for a long vehicle like this, especially on the left hand side. You might turn around and not quite see all the way back, and you've got to like turn your head right back because it is such a long vehicle. Whereas that, you can just sort of glance down just to make sure that there's, you haven't missed anything. I think that's a very handy technology. You might not use it all the time, but I've found that in this drive event, I've looked down a couple of times just to make sure that there's nothing that I didn't quite pick up. All right, let's head off now and do the performance test and see what it goes like.